Good evening, and thanks for being with us. I'm Kristen Johnson. Even 3 months after an EF4 tornado swept through Siouxland, some families are still picking up the pieces. But one woman's split-second decision to snap a photo minutes after the storm barreled down on the town of Wayne, Nebraska, has gone a long way to helping those folks. KTIV's Stephanie Ross explains how the pictures raised tens of thousands of dollars for a tornado victim. Pretty amazing story. If you're interested in buying a print or a t-shirt, we have a link to Parker's Facebook page inside this story at KTIV.com. Commemorative services were held throughout Haiti's capital today to remember the victims of the earthquake that devastated the island nation 4 years ago. The 7.0 magnitude quake killed more than 100,000 people. Despite billions of dollars pledged by donors to help rebuild Haiti, reconstruction efforts remain painstakingly slow. More than 500,000 people across the capital still live in crowded tent camps, many without running water or electricity. There's no word yet on when hundreds of thousands of people in West Virginia will be allowed to use their water again. People replenished their bottled water supplies at a pickup point in Charleston today. A state of emergency means the water in the pipes in 9 counties is off limits, except for flushing toilets. This after a chemical spill polluted the Elk River last week. The governor says testing shows the situation is improving.
You're welcome.
But he didn't say when life will get back to normal. Schools and businesses will be closed tomorrow. The air search for a pair of Northeast Nebraskans missing since last weekend has been suspended. Officials with the Nebraska Civil Air Patrol say they ended the search today after spending 25 hours looking for 33-year-old Corey Wetlaufer of Inman and 31-year-old Amanda Makovica of Orchard. The two were last seen a week ago by a motorist in a 1997 GMC Jimmy. Officials with the Air Patrol say they searched an area of over 60 square miles. Antelope County Sheriff Bob Moore says he will be following up on numerous leads in the coming week. Reform is a word you'll hear a lot from lawmakers when it comes to education and taxes. Last session, Iowa lawmakers passed property tax reform, but this session, the focus may shift to income taxes. KTIV's Matt Breen has a preview. Because this is the second year of a 2-year assembly of the legislature, both flat tax bills are still available for debate or a vote without having to reintroduce them. Nebraska lawmakers will also begin debating legislation for the 2014 session tomorrow. Speaker of the legislature Greg Adams says lawmakers will begin with bills that were approved in committees but carried over from the last year's session without a final vote. This year's session is expected to focus on taxes, state prison reform, and a new proposal to expand Medicaid under the federal health care law. Meanwhile, South Dakota lawmakers expect to spend a lot of time during the upcoming legislative session debating the Common Core standards that establish what students should know in math and English at each grade level. Representative Jim Bowen of Canton says bills will be introduced to phase out the standards and prevent information on individual students from being given to the federal government. But State Education Secretary Melody Shope defends the Common Core standards. She says they maintain local control because each school district decides how to teach the required skills. Having failed in an earlier effort to bar federal agents from enforcing gun laws in Missouri, state lawmakers are poised to make a new attempt this year, but with a twist. Missouri Republicans want other states to join the cause this time. They plan to delay the effective date of this year's measure until other states have passed similar bills. Supporters say it will be harder for the federal government to turn a blind eye if more states are involved. Extra eyes inside and out of passenger trains are in the works. There's a push for the addition of inward and outward facing cameras to passenger trains after this deadly accident in New York last month. One set would monitor the crew, the other would provide a view of the tracks. The Federal Railroad Administration will kick off the process of implementing the monitoring systems with a public comment period. The airlines serving small markets in Nebraska and Iowa have had a hard time finding enough pilots, leading to numerous canceled flights. New rules require co-pilots to log 1,500 flight hours and pass the air transport pilot exam before they can work for commercial airlines. Previously, co-pilots were only required to have 250 hours of experience. The canceled flights could make it harder for small airports to qualify for federal subsidies. Airports must serve at least 10,000 passengers a year to qualify for those subsidies. Gas prices jumped an average of more than 8 cents a gallon over the past 3 weeks. According to the Lundberg survey, the highest prices are in Long Island, New York. There, a gallon of gas is going for $3.67 on average. Albuquerque, New Mexico had the lowest average price of $2.97 a gallon. Lundberg expects price hikes to be fairly small in the next term.